Hey guys, welcome back to my puzzle bubble, where today I'm going to be showing you what it was like to attend a local puzzle competition, something which I don't think a lot of people know actually take place. So clearly, if you happen to be watching this video, you must be somewhat familiar with the online puzzling world, and that means that you're probably also familiar with the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships, which happen yearly in Spain. And you might also know that countries, more and more every year it seems, are starting to host their own individual national competitions as well. I'll link a video to the UK national video that I made earlier this year if you haven't seen that one already. But outside of these large-scale puzzle events, there are also tons of puzzle meetups that happen, and also informal local competitions too. So I really wanted to take you along and show you what it's like to attend one of these. Good morning guys. Today is Sunday the 3rd of August. It is just gone 7 a.m, very early in the morning still. But I thought I'd do a little vlog today and bring you guys along with me to Nottingham because I am actually going to another puzzle competition today. So I am heading to a place called the Dice Cup, which I believe they have held a puzzle event there before, but this is my first time ever going to this place. And more importantly, this is my first time going to a puzzle competition without my mum. Actually, no, that's not true. I did go to another local puzzle competition in Ely. Shout out to Melinda who organised that because that was such a fabulous event. And honestly, that is kind of what inspired me to choose to go to this event today as well. Local puzzle competitions are just such a different vibe to something like obviously nationals or even the Gibson's Championships that happened in Newmarket. Like, it's more of a social gathering and then like a bit of speed puzzling thrown in for good measure. I mean, of course, everyone goes there for the competition. But for example, at the event in Ely that I went to the other month, after the competition was all finished, we just, as a group of us, just stood around and chatted for like a good hour or two afterwards, just getting to know each other and puzzle swapping and things like that. Honestly, today is just an excuse to go and meet up with some fellow puzzlers. Of course, I will try my best in the speed puzzling, but I know I'm not the fastest, not by a long shot. So there is actually 2 events today, so I'll be doing 2 puzzles. There is the individual event this morning, which will be first, and then this afternoon I am actually doing a pairs puzzle with James Nichols, who you might recognise that name. He has been to Worlds a few times, I think. He normally pairs up with his daughter, Kasia, and he also did the commentary for the UK Nationals live stream, so you might recognise him from that as well. So his daughter couldn't make it, my mum couldn't make this event, so we were both partnerless, so we've kind of been teamed up by default. We've never puzzled together before, but honestly I'm kind of intrigued to see how we're going to do today. I'm sure my mum won't mind me saying this, but James is a lot faster at puzzling than she is. So obviously our time was like 58 minutes on our pairs puzzle at Nationals. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to be a bit faster than that today. Who knows? Obviously it all depends on what puzzle is selected. With the individual time, honestly, my times have been varying so much recently. Anything around the hour mark or just under an hour would be very, very good for me. But I feel like I do puzzle a lot slower when I'm not in the comfort of my own home, so we will see how that goes too. In the interest of saving money, I chose not to stay in a hotel nearby last night, which I very much regretted when my 6:30 alarm went off this morning. But I have to leave in about 20 minutes, I guess. It's about a 2.5-ish drive for me this morning, which isn't too bad when you compare it to Nationals, which was about 4 hours. But I am allowing around 3 hours for traffic because I hate being late. I can't be late for this, obviously, so I'm allowing plenty of time for that. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy coming along with me today and seeing what a smaller, more local puzzle competition can look like. I'm honestly not sure how much I'm going to film today because obviously it's going to be a much smaller, more compact venue. But I will, of course, film all of the puzzling that I do today. Right, I think I'm pretty much ready to go. Let's drive to Nottingham.
A few moments later.
Wow, okay, that was a very uneventful drive down. it literally took as much time as it said it would. There was not a single ounce of traffic, which means I've arrived and it's only like 10 past 10 and the event doesn't start till 11. So I found a multi-story to park up in, and now I'm thinking, I don't quite know what to do. I might just go wander over slowly, because Google Maps is saying it's about a 10-ish minute walk to the Dice Cup from where I'm parked, and I don't actually know where the heck I'm going. I've only ever been to Nottingham once, and that was years and years ago, so I need to find my way. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna go stroll over. Of course, as soon as I start walking over, it starts to rain. Oh my god, it's getting heavier. Okay, so I was planning on filming the venue as I approached, but of course, in traditional British summer tradition, the heavens opened and it started to absolutely chuck it down. So much so that I had to put my camera in my bag because I didn't want it getting damaged in any way. But I'll insert some pictures here so you can see what the venue itself looks like. The venue itself was called the Dice Cup, and it's a very, very spacious gaming cafe. And this was a clip that I filmed shortly after arriving, and you can see that I was not the only person to arrive early. This whole section here was for the puzzling competition, and it was only just one part of the venue. It was also stocked full of just about every board game you could possibly imagine, just shelves and shelves packed full. I've never seen so many in my life. And then connected via a ramped walkway was the actual cafe part, serving a really nice selection of all vegan food, and then more tables for playing board games as a group. So I did end up on table number 1. When I arrived, it was one of the only tables that were completely free, and honestly, I didn't mind being at the front at all. The event was hosted by Steve, who is the owner of the Dice Cup, and he also organised and ran the entire day's events. So I'm currently waiting to start the individual round, and I found the Puzzle Guzzle folks. I've chosen to sit at table number 1. Don't know why, but it was the only one that's free, but there's quite a lot of people here. It's quite a large space. I felt so much more chilled out and relaxed in the lead up to this competition than when compared to something like Nationals, for example. Everyone was just sat around chatting and getting to know one another whilst Steve handed out all the covered puzzles.
But we're ready to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, good luck! Oh. I've just done this one.
Oh, I know.
I've just done this one.
Oh, very bright.
So
the puzzle that was selected for the individual round was this puzzle called Jazzy, and the artist on this one is Greg Paprocki. I hope I'm saying that right. And this is a 2024 Ravensburger release, and it may look familiar because it was used in the USA Nationals in 2024. It was the pairs prelim round puzzle, I believe. It's also been used in both the Norway and Portugal national championships too. This was, however, a brand new release for the UK market, so I had never attempted this puzzle before, and I was so excited to jump into this one. This puzzle to me is like the ideal image I love to puzzle. I really enjoy bright, colourful illustrations with really sharp, clean, distinct lines throughout, and just the perfect level of busyness in my opinion. Yes, there's a lot going on, but it's not overwhelmingly chaotic at least. However, saying that, it was a little difficult to decide just what colour to pick out first, with just so many to choose from. So you can see from the time lapse here that I pulled out all the edges first and jumped straight into assembling it. It came together super fast. I managed to finish most of the edge. I was missing a piece or two in under 10 minutes, which is a very quick pace for me. And then I made quite a poor decision, I think, to start with the bright yellow pieces of both one of the ladies' outfits and the chair. It stood out against the slightly duller yellow of the wooden flooring, but there just wasn't that many pieces in the end, and I had barely gotten any of them connected in the beginning, so I had a lot of floating pieces, which wasn't great. I got the purple dress done pretty quickly on too, before moving on to some turquoise blue, which again there wasn't much of, so I tackled all the red pieces. I could see quite a lot of red on the floor, But honestly, it wasn't too difficult to place everything as there's lots of items on the floor so you can really easily see which piece goes where. I then pulled out all the orange, which was mostly the curtains, very similar curtains too, so it was a little tricky and I definitely got some pieces muddled up there. And then with a lot of the big colour sections pulled out and placed, it was just a case of getting through the puzzle section by section, and I constantly felt like I was moving at a good pace. I could hear multiple people finishing around me, especially as I was nearing the end of the puzzle, but I was honestly just having so much fun completing this one. Now, just a little bit of backstory here. My all-time personal best first attempt puzzle time was 55 minutes and 31 seconds, which I achieved on the Boathouses in Smogan puzzle. And I'd also got another couple of first attempt times also in the 55-minute range. But no matter how hard I tried and how many attempts I'd had, I did not seem to be able to puzzle any faster than 55 minutes for a first attempt. But by some absolute puzzle miracle, I managed to finish this puzzle in 52 minutes and 51 seconds. Now, obviously I was trying to be respectful and keep quiet because there were so many people still puzzling around me, but internally I was just completely freaking out. I was completely shocked to look up and see 52 minutes on the timer. When I'm competing in a competition, I don't like to look at the time at all. Even when I hear people finishing, it's just too distracting for me. I'd rather not know. But based on how many people had finished and the general feeling that I had in my brain, I thought I was somewhere around the hour mark. So this puzzle now holds my new personal best record for a first attempt, and I am so glad to have achieved this during an in-person competition. I genuinely believe that had I got this puzzle at, say, Nationals, for example, I wouldn't have performed nearly as well as I did. I think that the very chilled and laid-back atmosphere of the Dice Cup definitely played a factor in helping me get this new personal best. Now, the individual round was 2.5 hours long, so I did have quite a bit of time to kill after finishing. I packed up the puzzle, got some food from the cafe, and as more and more people started finishing their puzzle, we were all discussing just how we found it and comparing our times. There was also a puzzle swap happening at this event too, and also a lot of people were using this as an opportunity to practice in their pairs and teams ahead of the upcoming World Championships as well. And then before we knew it, the timer finished and the individual competition had come to an end.
Before we go on to giving prizes out, can you just put your hand up if the time you got today for a competition puzzle was your personal best? Give yourselves another round of applause. Without further ado, in first place with a time of 37 minutes 16 seconds, Rachel Chambers. In second place with a time of 45 minutes and 4 seconds is Zach Glukov. In third place, getting the last medal, obviously the best thing we can get, is Graham Parker. In fourth place, with a time of 46 minutes and 38 seconds, is Charlotte Kirby. And in fifth place, apologies, I forgot to write his surname down, with a time of 47 minutes 20 seconds, is Alex. And finally, with a time of 1 hour 8 minutes for first ever Speed Puzzle Live, is Jodie Nixon. Pairs will start in about half an hour-ish.
So the prizes were given out to the top finishers, as you just saw. And I'm happy to report that out of the 35 individuals that took part, my time was good enough for 9th place. A top 10 single-digit finish, which again is obviously the best I've ever done with this personal best time. So as you heard, there was a little bit of a gap between the individual and the pairs round, and James and I got set up at the same table that I was puzzling at in the individual round, which was nice and easy. And then we just started roughly discussing and planning out what our strategy would be for this mystery puzzle. Obviously, this was very difficult to plan, having no idea what the puzzle was going to be. but I think we did our best considering we'd never puzzled together before.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, good luck!
Oh my god.
We've got a second image. Which we may or may not use. Let's keep that. Yeah. I've got an empty bag.
Yeah, edges, definitely edges. Oh, this is the kind of image that I'm really good at.
The puzzle choice for the pairs round turned out to be this 2025 Ravensburger release, and this is by Kevin Walsh and it's called The Lakes. This puzzle was used in the Dutch National Championships, I believe, but again, this would be another first attempt for me, and this was my first time even seeing this puzzle image. You could hear from my reaction that I am really not very good at these kind of painted landscape type puzzles. Luckily though, this puzzle isn't as difficult as I initially thought it would be. You can see that there are several different distinct items in the foreground to break up the image, and very minimal green foliage, which is my least favourite thing to puzzle ever. So we both started by flipping and pulling out the edge pieces, which we had already decided I was going to assemble. I was putting together the edge, James started a more detailed puzzle sort, creating various piles of things like the flowers, the car, and some of the boats, which is what he jumped into assembling first. I finished up the edge in, again, about 10 minutes, still missing the odd piece or two, which I was really surprised about. At the time, I could have sworn I was working on this for way longer than that. As soon as I had finished the edge, James already had a really nicely sorted pile of the colourful flowers for me to get straight to work on, which was really nice that I didn't have to spend any time sorting through the pieces myself. James was working great on getting all the various boats in this image put together, and once I finished the very small patch of flowers, James handed me yet another pre-sorted pile of pieces for the blue car in the foreground, which did come together relatively easy, although there were lots of dark shadow pieces that made it a little harder. After that, I finally braved tackling the sky in this image. I noticed pretty early on that the sky wasn't a clear gradient design. Instead, it was more just randomly coloured clouds, just not in any particular pattern either, which I knew was going to be way more challenging, so I kept putting it off for as long as I possibly could. James was working well, having completed all the boats and the dock, and he was completing the brown path along the bottom, so I picked out all the orange tones of the sky first as they were jumping out to me more, but there was still a lot of trial and error through this bit. Eventually, I felt like I'd made about as much progress as I could with the orange and jumped back into putting some of the lake texture together. James had finished up on all the foreground sections, and so from there we were both just really working from the bottom of the puzzle upwards, filling in all those gaps that we had left. Through doing this, we eventually got the bottom horizon of the sky finished, which nicely connected all those floating orange pieces that I had from earlier, and it gave me more of a base to work off of, so I hopped back into finishing off the sky finally. I am glad I waited until further towards the end to do this, as the only sky pieces left were kind of a yellowy white tone, and it mostly came down to looking at the piece shape instead. After that, the final section we had to complete was the green of the mountainscape, and we managed to finish this puzzle in a time of 43 minutes and 35 seconds. Both James and I were really pleased with a sub 45-minute time, especially considering this was our first time puzzling together as well.
So this is my stand-in pairs partners.
Hello.
How did you find that, James?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah?
It was great working with you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I think we got the teamwork really went very well, and we allocated the different tasks.
Yeah.
That was great, and I thoroughly enjoyed puzzling with you. That was great fun. Thanks.
Yes. Under 45 minutes. You did very good. Thank you. Thank you for being my partner.
Like James said, I agree. I think we worked really well on this puzzle together. We just kind of naturally took on different sections of the puzzle that appealed to us more, and I think our communication throughout was great as well. The time limit for the pairs round was 2 hours this time, so again, I had some time to kill after finishing. Again, I went back to the cafe to get more of their delicious food, and once more we were all just kind of sat around chatting and discussing this puzzle. Some puzzlers I actually saw taking full advantage of all the board games that were stocked in the Dice Cup, and they started playing some of them after finishing their puzzle, which we were completely free to choose whichever games we wanted to throughout the entire day. And before we knew it, the time was up, the pairs round had finished, and it was time for the final award ceremony of the day.
If you're not in our Facebook group or Instagram and you want to do more puzzles and competitions online and in person, please join that. So Facebook, United Kingdom Jigsaw Puzzle Association, and on Instagram, UK_Jigsaw_puzzle. And then before we get into the awards, can we please give Steve a massive round of applause, a big thank you for hosting today, for organising, for timekeeping, and to Matt as well, who helped out with all the scoring, and to everybody else in the cafe that provided us with beautiful food and drink today. So thank them all.
In first place is Graham and Jodie Parker with a time of 28 minutes and 14 seconds. And in second place, we have Rachel Chambers and Abby Lawrence with a time of 30 minutes 45. They're not on the book before. And third place, getting the last of our brilliant new medals, is Charlotte Kirby and Emma, forgot your surname, Emma, with a time of 33 minutes 11 seconds. Finally, with a time of 33 minutes 18 seconds, only 7 seconds behind, is Zach Lucon and Claire B.
Out of the 20 pairs that completed this puzzle, our time was good enough to get us 10th spot, which means that I managed 2 top 10 finishes this weekend. I could not be happier with both of my times. And then the day was finished. Just like that, it went by so quickly. I think people were totally free to hang out longer at the Dice Cup afterwards if they so wished, but I headed out pretty soon after the award ceremony because I still had that 2.5-hour drive home that I had to face. So I hope this video has given you some sort of insight as to what it's like to attend a local puzzle competition. And I just wanted to give another shout out to Steve, who did a fantastic job organising this. This was the second puzzle competition, I believe, that was hosted at the Dice Cup, and the whole day from start to finish just ran super smoothly. It was so much fun. I got to meet and speak with so many new people, and personally, I cannot wait to go back to future events held at this venue. As Annika said in that clip, if you're wondering if there's any local puzzle meetups or competitions in your area, the best place I advise looking is the UKJPA Facebook page, which I will link in the video's description below. I quite often see people from all over the UK posting not only puzzle events, but also just getting to find other puzzlers that might live in your local area. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.